Okay, so I wanted to make a video for a little while about cleaning bearings. It's something I have to do a lot more than I think some people, just because I work in a shop and things get dirty. Also, my strings get dirty really fast, which can make yo-yos responsive. Um, so if you've got dirty strings and you're having a responsiveness problem, like the first thing you should do is probably replace the strings, then check the pads, then go for the bearing. But if you are cleaning bearings, I've done it a lot of different ways, and I wanted to sort of talk about the different ways people clean bearings and what some of the benefits of some chemicals are as opposed to others. So I'm going to go from probably least aggressive to most aggressive, I guess, or least dangerous or caustic flammable, whatever, to most flammable. So the first thing is, I'm pretty sure, I want to say Paul Dang did this, but I could be wrong. You can actually just use like Dawn dish soap and wash your bearings and put them in a little jar with soap and water and shake them up and then rinse them off, and that's fine. Ceramic bearings, obviously, that would be fine. Metal bearings, if you do that, it's not a big deal as long as you make sure it's completely dry when you're done. So you probably need some compressed air or something like that to make sure the bearings are super dry, because you don't want any water, because obviously they'll rust if you got water in it. So that is effective if you don't have another choice, but you got to make sure it's completely dry at the end. Some people, that makes them a little paranoid, so they don't want water around their bearings, which I get. That's cool. Next thing is isopropyl alcohol. If you get 91% isopropyl alcohol, you can use that to clean bearings. It evaporates pretty well. It's pretty safe. It's not super caustic. It's not going to be, I mean, it is flammable, but it's not flammable like some stuff. And I think it's not so bad for plastics, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know. I have only used this a handful of times because there's other things that I prefer. But it's not so terrible. Next is odorless mineral spirits, which is pretty effective. The good thing about this is it will not mess up plastics as much as some of the other stuff we're going to get into. There are, like, I have a top bearing that you can't get the bearing out of the top. It's a sealed bearing, or it's sealed in the top. So you can clean it with this, with odorless mineral spirits, and it's okay for the plastics on that top. Of course, you should be careful with plastics and any of this stuff, but mineral spirits are usually better for that, but they're still good at cleaning. So that works out pretty well. The next thing people recommend a lot is just straight up acetone, 100% acetone. It is going to definitely eat through any kind of plastic you have, and so that's a whole thing. I definitely would be careful about that. It's also something you can't just, if you spill it, it's a whole thing. So acetone is effective, but also maybe not the easiest thing to handle. The next and last thing is my favorite thing, and it's what I use all the time. It is not in frame. It is brake clean. This happens to be Mopar just because that's what we had. I don't work at a Dodge shop or anything like that. That's just the brake clean that we got from the parts house because that's what was on sale. So brake clean is awesome because it comes with the tube, and when it sprays out, it really hits the bearing. I'll take a stick like this that I've filed down and spray it directly into the bearing, and it spins it up really nicely, and just gets way down in there to clean things out. Obviously, you have to de-shield the bearing, but then it really cleans out whatever's in the bearing really well, and it dries completely. There's no residue at all. I'm sure somebody will be pedantic about that, but there's really no residue left over by brake clean. That's one of the reasons we use it in the shop, and it really soaks in that bearing well. The thing I like about brake clean is all this other stuff, you're going to have some amount of cleanup. You're going to have to sit here and spray it with compressed air or something like that, which is fine. I have compressed air at the shop. I even have an oilless compressor, so I don't have to worry about anything contaminating the bearing when I spray it off, as opposed to compressors that run on oil. But with brake clean, it evaporates so fast that you can just spin it with your finger a few times and let it air out for a minute or two, and you'll be good. It's really good at that. So this is my new go-to, is brake clean, because it dries completely with no residue. It cleans really well. It really sprays directly into the balls in the cage there to clean everything up. And it's easily portable, and it's fairly safe. You definitely want to do this someplace that's ventilated. You don't want to breathe in all the fumes. Don't do it in your room or your living room or something, or basement. You want to open the windows, probably just go outside. You may want to wear some gloves. Ideally, you'd wear nitrile gloves so you're not getting chemicals on your hands, and some safety glasses. But I know a lot of people are going to do this without that, and it's not super serious. Just don't spray it in your eye. And make sure it's a well-ventilated place. Don't set it on fire. But since it's contained this way, it's a lot easier to control than possibly spilling acetone and having to get a little jar like this to shake stuff up and make a mess. So that's what I've been using lately for all my bearings, and it seems to work really well. Hope that helps you guys out. Talk to you later.